Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick, who is not alongside me. He's still missing in action.
Are you reading from a script?
Sometimes habit just takes over. And alongside my jackass partner, Ryan.
See, that's me.
Gerdes.
There you go. All right. Yeah.
All right. So text first to 623-AZ Recon. Again, text the word first to 623-AZ Recon. We haven't not talked about this really together before this, so sometimes I never know when we're going to take off the gloves and start fighting and disagree with one another. So I'm just going to give you my perception of the real estate market. It's an interesting market. We're seeing some interesting trends. We're still seeing a lot of people participating in the market, whether buying or selling. But I want to talk about buyers right now. They're still in the game. We're still seeing a lot of activity. What we're not seeing as much of, in my opinion, is first-time home buyers. Mm-hmm. They're on the sidelines right now. They are not dipping their foot in the pool. They're not getting involved. And they're not doing much. I'm not going to say that there aren't any first-time home buyers out there, but there's not as many, in my opinion, that is normal.
I'm kind of naive on the subject, dude. I'll be quite honest.
Okay.
Because I'm more than happy to work with first-time home buyers. I'm not saying that, but I don't know the last time I've really helped a first-time home buyer. Realistically, all of our clients that I run point on are investors or people that are on their fourth or fifth home.
But we have a team. Like when people
Right.
text the word first to 623-AZ Recon.
I mean, I can speculate.
Right.
I understand what you're trying to spur here.
But I'm just saying we're just not seeing as much activity out there.
Fair.
And I don't want people to think if you're a first-time home buyer, don't text the word first to 623-AZ Recon, because the best part about our team, we're 25 real estate wealth managers strong. Mm-hmm. And regardless of who you have a conversation with, you are going to get not only the best representation, but you're going to get an ass-kicking negotiator, and you're going to get somebody who's going to help you get the best deal possible on the table. It's just, I've just seen in the past more first-time home buyers in the market as opposed to right now. I can only conclude that it's interest rates and a slight fear of what's happening to the market.
I think that the sticker shock is still in full effect with a lot of first-time home buyers. I would agree with that. And so I'm kind of mentally going through the conversations that I've had with people who are newer to the market, not to the market, but newer to real estate. So, I know that interest rates are a big deal for them. I also think that a lot of first-time home buyers are parroting what a lot of the naysayers are saying, because negativity breeds negativity, right?
And it's easier to stay out than stay in. We take the path of least resistance oftentimes.
So they're going to get pushed shorts and reels onto their TikTok or Facebook or whatever social media platform that they're on, and then they're going to say, oh, well, they're going to Google high interest rates, negative impacts on the real estate market, and then your phone learns them, and then it starts pushing content over to them that basically is saying, the sky is falling. You should hunker down and rent and save and that's how you're going to beat all these idiots that are buying real estate out there. And it's like, okay, so like I said, negativity is breeding negativity on that. And whereas for me, I'm just looking at realism breeding more realism. I'm not an optimist. I'm also not a cynic, but I can be cynical at times about certain things.
I feel like you're more of an optimist than you. I feel like you're, and I don't know if this is a term, and it definitely is not meant to be a compliment, because, I don't want to get all fluffy with you, But you're a optimist with a realistic approach. You're not an optimist just to be an optimist. Hey, everything's going to be great. But you don't focus on the negativity.
Fair.
You try to justify your optimism, and I think that's great.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that's something.
Still a jerk.
Yeah, fair. That's for sure. I was watching, or I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I forget his name, but he's in the special forces, and they're talking about like, what do you do when you're in these really bad situations as a Navy SEAL, and just kind of like talking about the dialogue that they have with themselves, and it's like, hey, look, if you're walking in with the hey, I'm gonna die here mentality, then chances are you're gonna you're gonna get into some bad shit. So you need to have good positive talk with yourself that is going to enable you to walk into those situations and be fearless.
Dude, I think I think it was a Joe Rogan podcast with a guest, because I heard that, because he basically just said at the end of the day, I'm leading men possibly to their deaths, into danger.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. We're going.
Yeah.
And attitude becomes everything.
It spoke to me. So on that front, I would agree with you. I am an optimist. I'm not going to let negative thoughts handicap what I know what it takes to be successful, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be positive on that front. But then when the actual situation gets put in front of me, I'm not going to jump on all over an investment just because it's an investment. It's got to fit my model. It's got to fit into what my portfolio requires in order for me to jump on it. And I don't care how flashy something is or how ugly something is. If it's fitting the model, it's getting into my portfolio. And if it's not, then I'm going to walk away from it, and I'm not even going to think twice.
All right, so going back to first-time home buyers, that's who I want to focus on.
Yeah, sorry, I got a little tangent there.
No,
sorry.
but yes and no, because our job as real estate wealth managers is to help first-time home buyers see real estate through the prism in which you are describing. You kind of jumped ahead a few steps, but you get excited and you're passionate about this.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of home buyers, first-time home buyers, sitting on the sidelines, not getting involved because of interest rates, and I think it's a huge mistake. I understand if you can't afford, you can't afford. And if you can't afford, you got to figure out when you can afford and what you got to do to get to that point, because you will not build wealth faster with any other model outside of real estate. But for the people that can't afford and just got their fingers in the air and la la la, I can't hear you, you're doing yourself a disservice. And I'm not saying that you have to commit to buying a home, but you better damn commit to figuring out, can you, what the strategies are, whether it's something you should do or not, outside of just saying, blah, 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 I'm not going to do it. So I understand, as you like to call her, Brookie Cookie. Your daughter, she's 18, just graduated high school, going to ASU. She's an amazing young lady.
Thank you.
And
we both did pretty damn good with our kids, dude.
So imagine,
except for Quentin.
Quentin, he's
he's the worst.
No, he's my favorite. I love him. Outside of his,
he's in studio by the way.
Outside of his
so
brother, he's my favorite too. But imagine, because I don't want to make this uncomfortable. She's not going to get married right now, and thank God. But imagine 6 years from now, she doesn't own a home. She just graduated, just got a job, 2 years into it. Today's market, first-time home buyers are staying out. What do you say to Brooklyn about real estate? Because now you're talking to first-time home buyers.
So I get the hypothetical question, but that ship has sailed, dude. She knows more about real estate than 95% of the real estate agents who have been in the industry for 5 years or less. Like she's been around it her whole life.
All right.
Humor
me.
Okay, so I'm a Socratic type of parent. So what benefits are you going to have by not doing it? And then what benefits?
I love that.
But then what benefits are you going to have by doing it? And then let's put a pro and con chart together, and let's mentally work through what is going to be the ending result of what you want out of life, and does this play into it? Because I use this vehicle of real estate so that I can retire one day, so that I can spend more time with my kids, and maybe I'm assuming I'm going to have grandkids one day, and I would love to be able to just at the drop of a hat go.
You
hang
just
out
don't
with
want
them
them today.
There will be serious issues. There a life that begun today would be a life lost for somebody else.
The life that would endeth today.
Yeah. So that being said, man, I would really want her or anybody's kid to really think about instead of the whys, think about the why nots,
Yeah.
and really kind of bring that home, because all it's done has been a fantastic blessing for me and my family, because we've put some good business building blocks behind it, and made good decisions, and didn't let our decisions be made through our hearts, and made them through our head. So there you go.
So my advice to the first-time home buyers that are listening to this episode, but more importantly, to the moms and dads of potential first-time home buyers, to the grandmas and grandpas of potential first-time home buyers, there's a lot of different ways to consider real estate, do real estate. And you can always talk to a real estate agent that's transactional. That's just going to try to get you into a home. The best thing, and I know moms and dad and grandparents especially are listening to this, and it's making sense to them. I wish I had these two jackasses guiding me when I was starting in this process. And if I could just talk highly of us just for a second, you are doing yourself a disservice if you are not texting the word first to 623 AZ Recon. You're not committing yourself, but you're engaging in a conversation of how do I consider beginning the process of building wealth through real estate.
So somebody texts in the word first to 623 AZ Recon, and you get on the phone with them and start having a conversation. What does that conversation look like? And what would be your main message above and beyond you should buy real estate? I mean, like what's the model that you would want to impose upon a first-time home buyer?
Well, I don't know if we differ, but I'm like I said, regardless of the age, if you're 85, 90, you've pretty much got an idea of what the end of the road's going to look like financially.
You're probably not a first-time home buyer.
And you're probably not a first-time home buyer. But if you are, text the word first to 623 AZ Recon, right? But just get those big giant phones, blow up your screen so you can dial it. No, it's just, when a first-time home buyer, it's imparting the mistakes that I felt like that I made. But we're going to always start with the end in sight. And sometimes a lot of first-time home buyers, based on their age, haven't thought about the end of the game, like retirement and let's paint that picture. Because we all, regardless of how old we are, we have the ability inside our head, based on previous experiences, to paint the picture. Like, how do you want retirement to look like? What are the things that you want to be able to afford to do? And if we can establish that vision, we can establish that picture, we can put some sort of monetary value to it. And now let's reverse engineer it. And as we reverse engineer it, we're going to have a very, very strong conversation about Social Security. I might have to educate them. But how do you really think that the federal government, regardless of what political party you align yourself with, are they committed to making sure that Social Security is going to fund what that dream looks like? And then let's reverse engineer it, and let's talk about right now how do we get and help real estate fund that dream?
Okay. Yeah, and I think that a lot of that is our real estate 401k plan,
Sure.
right? So that's a model that So as we've been talking, I said that I haven't worked with a whole bunch of first time homebuyers, but I just recalled that one of my close buddies, he doesn't feel like a first time home buyer just because I've known him for so long, and anyhow, just weird. But he did just buy his first home a couple months ago. He and his new lovely bride, and they bought a home for less than half of what they were approved for, just so that they could buy their next one here in the next couple of years, which is part of our real estate 401k program, and so that would be the direct model that I would go after if we were to get on the phone and you reach out and you say text the word first to 623 AZ Recon. That's what I would really want to talk about, and I think that here's the problem with it. It seems like a huge length of time. It seems like a huge amount of money. It seems like it's something that's can't be done, but I'm here to tell you, dude, it is easier and faster and cheaper than any other path. And you're gonna blink, and it's like, holy shit! I already have this awesome real estate portfolio put together, and I don't feel like that stung at all on the pocketbook. And so I was beyond pumped for them to dial it back, because, dude, I get it. You're freshly married, and you have a household combined income where you have some pretty good jack, and you want to go get a pimp daddy house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the house that they got is pretty badass too. But they're only going to be there 2 years, and so that would be the conversation that I would have if you texted in the word first to 623 AZ Recon.
Well, I will say this: everybody who knows my wife, who knows me, knows that I'm smarter. There is a.
I don't think anyone knows that.
There is a.
I think you're smart,
if
buddy.
I listen to my wife when we were engaged, because she is so risk adverse, we still might be renters.
Oh, God.
And that is the one area, the one thing that I said, I don't care. Like, we are buying real estate. And now every once in a while we're having coffee. She's like, hey, what are we buying next? What's our next purchase? So she's come a long ways. But
good.
I will say this to our first-time home buyers, parents of first-time home buyers, and grandparents of first-time home buyers. If we could take you, your child, your grandchild, and sit down and go through the process of how could you possibly buy 6 properties over the next 10 years using under $100,000 worth of cash, would you be interested? Well, go ahead and text the word first to 623 AZ Recon. We want to sit down with you. We want to explain the process to you. Again, text the word first to 623 AZ Recon.